For those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Huntsberger. I'm the president of the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I said it before, but I'll say it again. It's really good to be with you all here, and we're really very happy to be hosted by Peter Becker Community. And I have Barb Keller with us this morning. I think she'd like to say a few words of greeting on behalf of Peter Becker. And boy, was that not a fantastic breakfast this morning?
The dining staff walked off to take care of something else, but good morning, and again, welcome to Peter Becker. I think I've met most of you when you came in. For those that I haven't met, I'm Barb Keller, Vice President of Marketing and Sales. So Peter Becker Community, for those who don't know, is a nonprofit, faith-based, continuing care retirement community. One of the gentlemen here was sharing that his grandparents were here and spent some time here on campus, and that's always wonderful to hear about everyone's great experiences. So most of our residents reside in apartments and cottages. Where we are now, this is called Maplewood Estates. We have 120 apartments here. We're going to soon be starting an expansion project to add another 45. So we're really, really excited. And many of you who haven't been here for a little while, I hear, were surprised when you pulled in the parking lot and saw, wow, 30 more cottages. So that's cottages at Pondview. So we had our last move in last fall. So we're really excited to have so many wonderful residents as part of our campus here. So at any given time, we have a little over 500 residents on campus and a little over 280 team members. So we're really excited. They really make the lives of our residents so much better. I know we have to get back to the meeting, but the team and I will be available after the meeting if anyone's interested in taking a walk around. We'd love to show you. We have some construction going on in our courtyard areas. We have a new sports lounge that we'd love to show. We have several restaurants on site, so we'd love to have you learn a little bit more. Again, thank you for being here and for allowing me to visit with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. And your cafe is open to the public, is that right?
Yeah.
If you're looking for, like meeting places for breakfast or lunch, the cafe is on that end of the building, and it's absolutely wonderful. So avail yourselves of that if you are so inclined. So this morning we have, so welcome to our Maximize Your Membership. We can also call this new member orientation, and it's one of those things that I think is kind of important as you start working into how to utilize chamber membership. And I do want to say a quick thanks to Jaden. Give me your last name, Jaden. Odenwald. Jaden Odenwald. She is a Southern Area School District student, and she is taping this for us, and we'll be able to put this up on our YouTube channel for new members. We usually do this once a year, and for the folks who join partway through the year, we don't have to make them wait for the whole year to come back around. So thank you very much for being here with us this morning. So yeah, let's give her a round of applause. What I should mention, before we get into this too far, can I have a show of hands of current board members? So I have Ryan Shuck, I have Brad Bissinger, I have April Donahue, and I have Ruthie Potter. And do I have former board members? Christina Neal and Michelle Kane. So think of these folks also as your ambassadors. They are a wonderful source of information. So we have a number of speakers this morning. I just want to make a couple real quick comments. Do any of you know the story of the 4 blind men who were asked to describe an elephant? Is that a new, some of you, those of you who know me know I like to tell this story. So a chamber of commerce can mean many things to many people, and it's how you interact with that chamber, right? So the first blind man was asked to describe an elephant. He said an elephant is like a snake. Well, he was hanging on at the trunk, and the second blind man said, no, an elephant's like a wall. Well, he was at the side of the elephant. Third man said, no, it's like a rope. Well, he was hanging on to the tail. And the fourth man said, no, an elephant's more like more like a tree. Well, he was hanging on to the leg. And they weren't wrong, right? But they all interacted with that elephant in different ways. But they didn't quite get the whole picture. And the other thing that we oftentimes say in the chamber world, if you've seen one chamber, you've seen one chamber. Many of my colleagues across the state have a tourist bureau associated with them. They have a Main Street. They have a robust retail sector. Indian Valley Chamber tends to be much more focused on services, industry and manufacturing, and nonprofits. And that's just the way we are, and there's nothing wrong with that. That just happens to be the kind of businesses that we have in the Indian Valley. So kind of keep that in mind as we're doing and going through this. So I think first off, I'm going to ask Ken Carfagno, and Michelle Kane, if you want to come up here too, you can come up a while. And my agenda, because I have to pull this out here real quickly. Ken is a relatively new member. In fact, the very first time we met was in this room in 2019. And he is going to share a little bit about why he joined the chamber and why he's staying. And if you want to sit down, you can, or if you want to stand up.
Thank you, Stephen.
So welcome to Ken Carfagno. I should have said this. Ken is the owner of C3 Cleaning Experience, and it's fantastic.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm very happy that this is being recorded and taped, as Stephen said. So I'll get into technology in a minute. So first, let me introduce myself and welcome you all here. My name is Ken Carfagno. As you can see from the shirt, C3, got my name tag. This is us in costume. The Night Ninjas serving the Indian Valley businesses nights and weekends, so we do cleaning. I'm a former mechanical engineer of all things. I worked at GE after college. I went to Penn State and found that I did not like the corporate world. It just wasn't for me. An entrepreneur kind of stuck in a desk. Now, ironically, I'm back at a desk, which is, I guess, good. But I work from home, and we have 5 kids. We live in Harleysville. We've been married for over 20 years, and we homeschool. So we have found this to be an amazing community. We spent over almost 20 years we spent out of state. Many of those years in upstate New York. Ran our first cleaning company up there. I was not involved in a chamber at all. And I didn't realize what a chamber could be. So coming here, well, in 2019, we're restarting the cleaning business and joining a chamber. Now, the first question I have is, why would I join a chamber? I never joined one. I was not a fan of networking groups and BNIs, and no offense to anyone that does. I was like, it wasn't for me. I'm an introvert, engineer, not gonna be my thing. So why did I join a chamber? Well, I wanted to grow. I wanted to grow as a leader. I wanted to grow our company. I wanted to start meeting people in the community. We wanted to build a long-term home in this community. And so what better place to get connected than with the people that live, work, pray in this area. So I wanted to be a member. So I grabbed a hold of my friend Dennis Gaiman, Gaiman Design Remodeling, and I said, Dennis, you're a member of the chamber, and that's a loosely defined. He hasn't been around as much lately, but I kind of got him out of the. I said, Dennis, can you bring me to a meeting? He says, yeah, I'll bring you to a meeting. So he brought me. I came and I met Stephen, and the first thing Stephen said is he looked at Dennis. Dennis says, hey, Stephen, this is Ken. And Stephen said, any friend of Dennis is a friend of mine. I'm like, I like Stephen. He still says that. And it's really cool, and I felt welcomed. I met other people. I felt it was really a warm environment. I noticed the generosity in the room. And that's the theme. I know I have like 7 minutes, so I want to cover a bunch of stuff. But that was the first thing I really noticed here that separated from any other organizations or chambers I had visited in the past, is that there was just a real feel of sincerity and generosity amongst the members. I said, this is really cool. So I reached out to Stephen afterward. I said, hey, can we grab some breakfast? Because I felt that would be a good thing to do, to reconnect with people I just met versus just having a business card and letting it, be on my desk for 2 weeks with the intention of calling them back. and then it slowly found its way to the trash. He never called them back. Don't raise your hand if you've ever done that. No, I said, don't raise your hand. So I did, I reached out, we had breakfast, and I'm thinking, well, Stephen, I'm considering joining the chamber. Why should I? So his next line was, well, Ken, we have over 300 members in the chamber. If you join, you'd be the only cleaner.
That was a good answer, right?
I said, so where do I sign up? And I joined, and I was only a part of the chamber for a very short time. I came to a meeting like this, the pandemic hit right after, but I came to a meeting like this, and I want to actually give this talk, since it's recorded, I want to give it a title, and this is called Get a Name for Doing. Get a Name for Doing. So I went to my first Maximize My Membership. It would have been about this time, a little sooner, probably January, February of 2020. I was a brand new member. We're just restarting this new cleaning business for the second time doing it. And I was a brand new podcaster. I run a podcast in my industry. It's called the Smart Cleaning School. I've interviewed over 50 cleaning influencers in my industry. Over 425 episodes, been doing it for 4.5 years. It allows me to mentor and coach other cleaning companies nationally. So it's a side thing I do, it's a lot of fun. I was just starting all this stuff out. And I come to a meeting, and I've been doing Zoom and other things like that for quite a while. So I come to a meeting like this, and the person that I remember meeting really made an impact on me was Ken Byler. And now I went up to him because his name was Ken, my name was Ken. I'm like, Ken. Pretty easy introduction. I didn't forget his name either. And so after talking to him for a brief moment, I was like, I really liked him. And I said, hey, I got your card, maybe we can get together for breakfast sometime. Because I thought that was like a cool thing. Let me just connect with Ken too. He agreed to meet up. And that's when I learned that Ken is a Grand Master of the Jedi Order. He is incredible. No lightsaber. He didn't need one. Nor did he didn't have the Force electric either. He just like hitting me with questions. My intention was to learn about him. I couldn't unlock him. He was a master. I'm like, how does he do this? He kept turning it back on me, asking me questions, making me feel special, and giving me so much advice, so much like value in that conversation. Like, wow, what is this? What is this that I'm a part of? And I said, Ken, let me ask you, this is my parting question. What do I do in the chamber? It's really big. I mean, raise your hand if you're new. Let me just get a feel for who's some new guys, new ladies, okay. Does it kind of feel big coming in the chamber, 300 plus members, and a little overwhelming? Is that true, a little bit? I see some heads nodding. I thought so. And so I asked Ken, what do I do about this? And Ken said this, he said, I got some notes, I was prepared this time. He said, you need to make a difference. He gave me the blueprint for that. He said there's a lot of people in the chamber, but you need to learn how to make the chamber small. Make the chamber small. There's lots of opportunities like this. There's committees, there's outings, there's events, there's LEAD. There's all these amazing resources within the chamber that are small by design. Go and be a part of those. Engage. So here's what you do. Step out. Step out in faith. Take a big step forward. And then another one. Now, I look like one of those, like people in the Wizard of Oz doing that weird thing. But taking a step of faith, and just moving forward, uncomfortably as it was, and just get yourself out there and use your strengths and your talents and your skill set within the small group that you're in. And you will develop a name, a reputation, a name for doing. And I thought, that was amazing. I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to go through some examples of what I've done to take my friend Ken's advice over the past 4 years. So first, 2020, so that's right after this meeting, it was like a month later, havoc breaks loose, everything shut down. And our master of technology, Stephen Hunsberger, is now going to be hosting Zoom calls for the chamber. And My
Don't judge me.
Can I just do one Steven story? This is a good one. It's fun. It's fun. It's just fun. It just tells you, like he said, taping. So
Yeah, I said taping, yeah.
He said
I'm
taping.
55.
no, it's all good. So the first time I said, Steven, would you like some help? I'm really good at Zoom. I've been doing mentoring and coaching outside of the area, and I've been using Zoom for like 3 or 4 years. I actually have my own account. It doesn't expire in 45 minutes. It's like, yeah, let's jump on a call on Zoom. I get on Zoom, I'm looking at his back. Steven, the camera's over here.
I was getting something.
He knew we were talking in that direction. He was like, oh, hi, Ken. I can't see you. It's because the camera's over here.
Love you, man. Love you, man.
That's it for Steven's story. But I knew, like, the chamber needs some help with Zoom. So me and Ken Byler became the Zoom committee. It never was, it didn't exist. We became the Zoom committee. Go back to those videos from 2020 and you will see that it's Ken Byler talking about something amazing and hey, Ken the cleaner to facilitate the calls. I got a name for doing. That was amazing. It was an opportunity and I took a step. Kind of fast forward, I also had some other opportunities. Where's Michelle?
Right up here.
Oh, she's right there. She's right at the table. Michelle and I, she's a fellow podcaster, does an amazing job.
Yep.
PR, solo PR.
It's called That Solo Life.
That Solo Life.
It's not a dating podcast, but
That Solo Life.
Yes, that's what it's about. It's aimed at public relations pros and marketers who work for themselves, but it's for really any business owner.
my co-host and I, we talk shop every week.
And she does a great job. So Steven resourced Michelle and I, and we did a whole Zoom talk on podcasting. So we brought that podcasting, how to do podcasting, to the chamber. We taught that, and that was something that I was good at and she's good at, so we brought that to the chamber. We got a name for doing. I started searching out other opportunities to serve. Go to different meetings like this, and I would meet people, and I wasn't trying to get something from them. Like, let me try, oh, there's a person, I can maybe clean for them. Let me try and get something from them. Hey, can I clean for you? No. How can I serve? How can I serve? Are you a generous person? And that was really the message. And then, kind of fast forward, I eventually said, well, I guess the Zoom committee's ending, and the technology's starting to, people are going back into their regular meetings. This is great, we don't need this anymore. Steven's got it under control. He's got a great staff, great team. So how about the next committee? What could I join? And so I joined. I actually went to a marketing committee once to check it out, and then I went to a membership committee once, and I said, yes, this is the one I like. And so how can I, now I'm in this table with like 8 people, how can I do something to be noteworthy? What are my skills? So we're gonna make phone calls and do surveys, and I said, well, I'll do a few calls. I didn't realize I was going to do as many as I did. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about the chamber and the membership. I wrote a full report and submitted it. I just assumed everyone else was doing that. And that report became like part of the foundation, or part of the thinking behind the strategic session the chamber did in 2023. So the membership committee was really grateful, and I really have enjoyed being a part of that. I'm an active member still. And I got a name for doing on the membership committee. And then in early 2023, our cleaning business was growing, and we started hiring. I was been serving different members of the chamber, plus other customers that weren't part of the chamber, and just serving with excellence and ownership, and just getting a name for doing as being an excellent commercial cleaner in the area. And then I got this, we had this amazing opportunity to take a trip to Florida. For the second year, we did a 1-month stay in Florida because we were able to have our business grow and actually function here while we left. So that was really cool. And then I get back from Florida, and I found out kind of in the midst of it, but I get back and I'm finding myself at a banquet where I'm being recognized as Small Business of the Year in the Indian Valley Chamber, which was mind-blowing. And I asked Steven, but there's a lot of amazing people in this chamber. Why would you pick me for that? I was amazed. Why would you pick me? He said, well, number one, your business has been growing. You're utilizing the tools of the chamber. You're growing. You went to Florida for a month. That's you have a really cool story. And because you've been so influential and helpful and because you have a name for doing in the chamber. I said, well, thank you. And I got to speak like this in front of 150 people a year ago and just share my story, share our mission of the company, share our values. It was such an opportunity. I was so grateful. And that has sparked so many other opportunities. Now that we're like a recognized brand in the chamber, I didn't set forth like, hey, we're gonna win some award in 3-4 years. I just wanted to be a generous person. I just wanted to walk out my faith, really. This is who we are, and this is what I need to do. And it's just so cool, this environment of this chamber. If you have that mindset of generosity, and you just keep giving, and you get a name for doing, make the chamber that is very overwhelming and big, make it small. If you can do that well, and give yourself a chance to use all your skills, people are gonna find out that you're special, that you're really good at certain things, and you'll get a name for that in the chamber, and you'll get called on. And when you start getting tapped in the shoulder and say, can you speak? Or hey, can you help with this project? It's because you have a reputation for that. I'm just thankful that Stephen actually gave me a heads up that I'm speaking today. I've come to meetings and said, Kenny, you know you're speaking. I said, okay, I'll be ready. So, but that's because name for doing. So this is the question, and there's more of my notes here. I could go on, and I know we gotta get to other people. So I just kind of leave it with this. Here's a question I have for you guys. So you're brand new in the chamber, or maybe you're watching this, on the chamber's website, and you're asking yourself, like, well, that sounds good. Like, how do I do that? How do I do that? Well, there's a lot of resources, whether they're here in this room, whether they're here on this page here in the chamber, and just start learning what opportunities there are in the chamber. Just take some time, meet people, find out what the opportunities are, find something that interests you. Take a step of faith, reach out, hi, I'm Donna, right? And say, I'd like to help, is that okay if I help? Have you ever turned anyone down, Stephen?
No.
Say that out loud.
Never turn it in.
He will not turn you down, I promise you. And you will have an opportunity to get a name for doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. So thank you, Ken. And I'm also pleased to have Michelle Kane with us this morning. Michelle is the principal with Voice Matters, and she has, I inherited you as a board member when I started.
Yes, you
And
did.
have developed a fantastic relationship with
Yes.
Michelle over the years. So I wanted her to talk a little bit this morning also.
Thank you, Steve. It's always a pleasure to speak at these events because the chamber has been very important to me. Tiny bit of my story is I have been a communicator my entire career. Started out in intern in television, started out on the agency side where it's funny, I look back at the photos from that time and I thought we looked like a rockin' sitcom, but had a lot of fun on the agency side and then went into nonprofit communications management, and that was a very varied and interesting 15-year journey that sadly ended when the nonprofit side put the non in nonprofit at the best time possible during the 2008-2009 recession. So there I was kind of sitting in a half-paid free fall thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I thought, you know what, let's LLC this thing and see what happens. So I dusted off the name that I had given to my then infant voiceover Notion, which I still kind of practice, but it's the mechanics car of my world, called Voice Matters. And the part of my nonprofit that was able to pay me allowed me to morph them into a client, and it just really grew from there. So, my main tenet has always been that business is relationship, right? We're here to help each other. And that's how I move throughout my day-to-day. And so although I initially joined the chamber in a very mercenary way, because way back in the day, they offered health insurance, group health insurance. And that was one of the main benchmarks of me saying, okay, I can do this on my own. And it got me through the first couple of years, and then when that phased away, it actually transitioned rather, fine. So still insured. Anyway, so that was a very mercenary thing, but since I couldn't just sit back, I said, I have to get involved. And honestly, that was probably the best thing I ever did, because that's how we get to know each other. And I know we're all super busy, but to echo what Ken said, I would say find something in some way, get involved, whether that's the golf outing committee. You're totally welcome to hang with us on the marketing committee, which I chair. We're meeting quarterly now, so it's not so bad, and it is Zoom, so not a terrible thing. And it's really, for me, joining the chamber also was a way to establish myself, because by that point I was in the comms world for 20 plus years, but as a new company, you're a totally unknown entity. They can say, yeah, sure, you did all that stuff, right? So joining the chamber for me was an opportunity to really say, yes, I'm credible. This is what I can do for you. And it puts you in the room with people who can make the connections, and you can just be helpful. So it's pretty much all I have to say. Just echoing what Ken said, get involved, take advantage of the services. And also I will also say, Steve is always open to new ideas. So if you see something in our business world that, a need that really isn't being met, especially in these ever-changing times where we feel like we're pivoting every 3 months, throw out the suggestion, because honestly, at the end of the day, we're all here to help each other succeed.
Thank you. I should have said this when we started. So if you look at that banner over there, Advocate, Educate, Connect. And we just went through a strategic planning session. And Ruthie and Leslie, if you both want to come up and have a seat at the table, you can do that. We went through a strategic planning process last year and actually used the Advocate, Educate, Connect as kind of the framework for that strategic plan. And the advocacy piece is the legislative policy piece, which I'm still trying to figure out. That has something that has not necessarily been a part of this chamber, so we're figuring that piece out. The Connect piece is what Ken and Michelle were talking about. It's business is really relational, and that's an important piece, and we'd like to make those opportunities available. And the last piece is the education piece. And one of the things that I think is probably the crown jewel of what we do is called LEAD Indian Valley. So leadership, education, advancement, and development. I always get the E's and the A's mixed up, but I think that's what that is. But it is an opportunity to really develop your professional skills. So this was originally a Ken Byler conversation. I'd known Ken Byler for about 20 years before I joined the chamber. And when I started, he said, Steve, I have an idea. And I said, oh, let's hear it. So it's Ken Carfagna said, or Michelle said, I'm always open to new ideas. I said, yeah, let's have that conversation. And we developed LEAD, and it's pretty awesome. And unfortunately, this is Ken's last year. Fortunately, I have Leslie Wheeling, and Leslie is my former board chair. So I'm going to ask Leslie Wheeling and Ruthie Potter to speak about LEAD. So Leslie is going to be the new facilitator, and also fortunately, we have an opportunity to take the best of LEAD and make it even better. So it's not always bad when people leave. Because Ken does a fantastic job, but you know what? There's new blood and new ideas. So that's where I was going with that. So Ken Byler, if you're watching this, I was not dissing you. And Ruthie went through the first class with me, so I wanted her to speak on the student's perspective. How if I just go ahead and hand that over?
Thank you, Steve. So as Steve mentioned, I am Leslie Wheeling. I have worked with the chamber for 6 or 7 years now. I can't count exactly, but it's been quite a while that I've been working with the chamber. So welcome to all of the new members. I think you guys have joined a really good organization. There's something special in the Indian Valley. I'm not quite sure what it is, but business happens just a little bit differently here than in other areas. So congratulations for being a part of that. And like Steve said, LEAD is a program that was developed by Ken Byler, who has many years of experience in leadership development. And I've been fortunate enough to shadow him for since September, and will continue to shadow him through the end of the LEAD program for this year. And myself, I have worked in leadership development for about 10 years in a few different capacities. Currently, I work with Clemens Food Group as the Organizational Development Manager. And so I do a lot of this in my day-to-day work as well, and it is really my passion. Developing leaders is really what I like to do. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about what LEAD is. So it's designed for business and nonprofit leaders, emerging leaders and established leaders. And it is really focused on developing self-awareness and the skills to successfully lead a team. Way too often, people are put into leadership roles and not given those skills, right? We're put into leadership roles because we have figured out how to perform in our jobs, but when we're put into leadership roles, we have new expectations. We have maybe some difficult challenges with team members, team dynamics, team growth. We have expectations now to look visionary to the future, and we're not taught how to do those things. So even the people who have natural abilities often aren't taught how to develop those abilities. And they are skills that are learnable. So what LEAD is designed to do is to help people develop their natural abilities to become the best leader that they can. So the program starts in September, meets once a month through May. So you think of it almost like a normal school year, right? September to May, meets once a month for about a half a day. And each time the session is focused on something a little bit different. So we start out with a lot of personal development, getting to know yourself, your emotional intelligence, your inherent strengths. We use Work of Leaders profile, which does a really good job of highlighting your natural skills and then how to apply those in different areas. We work with the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team model, which is Patrick Lencioni, one of the best known authors, and has a really wonderful model on team dynamics and team management. Too many organizations, you will see groups of people working together, but not working together as a team. And the Lencioni model will teach you how to go from a group to a team, a functional team, a cohesive team. And then we also get into some other things like how to serve on nonprofit boards, and some of those other things that are expected of leaders as well. So the program is really phenomenal, and Steve said, we have the opportunity to change things, but I will be honest, I have been shadowing for several months now, and the content and the delivery and everything is really phenomenal. Some of the best that I've seen, and I have seen a lot. So we are not going to change much. We're going to keep the program pretty close to as is. And one of my favorite parts about the program is that every participant has a project that they need to work on. And I don't want to talk too much about this because I think Ruthie might touch on this. But every participant has to come up with a project where they will use the skills that they learn in the class to deliver something for the business where they work or the business that they're leading. That project, there are a variety of different projects that people put into place, but it has to be complex enough that they are able to demonstrate all of those skills and provide value back to the business. So when I look at the program, that's one of my favorite parts about it, because I see that the companies that are sponsoring people through this program are getting that value back immediately through that project, but then they're also reaping benefits for years to come as that person develops as a leader and develops those people around them. So that's a little bit about LEAD Indian Valley. It is a really great program that I am honored to be able to continue the Ken Byler legacy. Like Ken Carfagna said, the man is a bit of a legend. And I'm honored to be able to learn from him and to continue this service for the chamber. The other thing that I will say is that I don't know of another chamber that offers a program anywhere close to this. So it is really a unique thing that is quite valuable to the chamber members. So I think that is everything on Lead Indian Valley.
And I do want to be very clear, I am so excited to have Leslie be the leader coming forward. I'm going to ask Ruthie to speak with us a little bit from the students' perspective. Ruthie and I were in the first class together back in 2016-ish, I think. But I'll let you take over.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see a full room, and it's great to be here at Peter Becker. It was last spring that I was here with my board of directors for the Indian Valley Education Foundation doing our strategic plan with, that's right, Ken Byler. He's a bit of a Yoda. He's kind of a special guy. So I would encourage you all, I'm just going to give a really quick plug to the luncheon that's coming up where Ken will be honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. To say that he is worthy is an understatement. So if you have the opportunity to attend, please do so. He really is that cool. That being said, I have no doubt in my mind that Leslie will be able to not only step into his role and continue the program, but continue to grow the program as a resource for this community. As Steve said, we started together, and I think that was your first year as executive director. And one of the things that, one of the many things that I pulled away from being active in Indian Valley Lead was the opportunity to meet other people from the for-profit and nonprofit business community. And we all came together and were facing the same challenges. And those challenges were the internal ones. What can I do to be a more effective leader? How can I engage my team in a way that is meaningful for them? Because when you engage your team in a way that is meaningful for them, it absolutely benefits the entire organization. I often talk about my lead experience as one of the first times in my career where I was given permission to reflect and dig deep into who I really am rather than what does this job require of me. And I think being able to, again, have that permission to do that has made me a stronger leader. Moving forward, I actually had our administrative coordinator for the foundation go through this program as well. The changes that I have seen in her performance, it was great before, but she's a quiet leader and she has so much to bring to the table, and I feel as though this one-year exercise of engaging with other people from the community and really being asked to do the digging that you need to excavate who it is you are has made her incredibly, incredibly effective in her role. I can't say enough about the program. I think it is so oftentimes, again, and it's come up before, we're all so busy. Everybody's so busy, aren't we?
Yes.
Make the time for yourself. Make the time to commit to something that is going to make you better. And that's really what LEAD does. It gives you the opportunity to do the deep dive into who you are, how you function, how you relate to other people. What are your trigger points? What are the things that you know are going to get you really nervous? Get around those, work with other people. And then I also want to share the importance of the capstone project, essentially, which is pulling together, whether it's a resource. In my case, I put together a resource binder for our board of directors that is still in play. We use it all the time, and that was a long time ago. We updated it, I promise. It's not the same one. But Meg's was putting together, a donor program. And thanks to that donor program, we've recognized well over $100,000 in additional funding since that was put into place. It was simple, it was impactful, but again, we gave ourselves permission of time to focus on something other than what's next, what's next, what's next. So what I hope is what's next for you is that you all come into these rooms and, as Ken has said, make it small, find your people. This is, and has never been, I'm much more of an introvert than I am an extrovert, and everybody always says, oh, you seem so extroverted. I am not at all. I am usually home on Friday and Saturday night in my sweatpants with my dogs.
Amen.
It's my happy place, but I do encourage you, show up, even though the first couple of times it's gonna be like, oh gosh, this is painful. You're gonna be met with familiar faces, you're gonna be met with smiles, you're gonna be met with opportunity to be a little bit better. And when you're a little bit better, our community's a little bit better. So thank you all for being here. I hope your experience is great. If you have any questions, feel free to tap any one of the board directors on the shoulder, or anybody else in this room.
Thank you. And that's why I have this group of people talk about the chamber, because they do so much better job than I do. I mean, it's one thing for staff to say this is a great organization, right? But I think when you have members that are saying, it's a great organization, there's a lot of good stuff going on, it's a lot of good people to connect with and build your business, build your profession, build your networks. It's really important. So thank you to all of our speakers this morning. We're a serious organization. We also like to have a little bit of fun. Ruthie?
Can I have one plug, since the marketing committee and the membership committee got their plug?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Education committee.
Education committee, yes. So the education committee is an important component of what we do also. So there's two parts to educate. So the educate is the education that you as professionals can receive, but there's also this connection with our schools. So Southern Area School District, DOC, and North Montco Technical School, the connection with the students and our professionals is huge. So helping this next generation experience what might be some potential professions for them to be looking into. So if anybody is interested in serving on that education committee, you can talk to Ruthie, she chairs that. And we're always looking for people. And again, we don't meet every month. It's about a quarterly basis, so it's not a huge time commitment. But we also like to have fun. So the fun networking things we do, the Connect for a Cause. We have a golf outing coming up in a couple weeks. So spring is on the way. We have a clay shoot that'll be happening in the fall. We have. Does anybody know who Harleysville Hank is? If you don't know who Harleysville Hank is, he's got his own Facebook page, and that was a social media experiment that went wrong. And Hank has over 1,000 Facebook followers, and I have my friend Joel Nofziger here. He's the executive director at Mennonite Historians, and every February 3rd, Harleysville Hank, who is a crazy little stuffed groundhog, predicts when we're gonna have an early spring, and 300 people show up at the crack of dawn on February 2nd. So again, social media experiment that went wrong. A fun time though, it's great to do in the middle of winter. There are, be on the lookout for seminars that are coming up. Be on the lookout for and if you haven't signed up for the annual meeting, do that. That's 2 weeks from today. So as you heard, Ken Byler will be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. Those don't happen every year. They just happen to be 2 in a row this year. So one last year, one this year. Our Pillar Award is going to Excel Communications. Our Cornerstone Award is going to Franconia Cafe, and our Community Service Award is being awarded to Emmanuel Lutheran. They have just done a fantastic job with food security in Souderton. So we'll have about 150 people for that. I think there's still time to sign up for that. So again, it's a good way to network and meet more people. For those of you that do HR or have someone in your organization that does HR, we meet on a quarterly basis. We have an HR roundtable, so make sure you get those folks out for that. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. So I don't expect you to come to everything. I don't expect you to avail yourselves of everything, but take a look and see what's going on and utilize it, because the more you put into it, the more you're gonna get out of it. And that, I think, is the trick in life. So it was really good to see you all this morning. I think a few of us will stick around if anyone has any questions, but while this is a 300-member organization, there's probably about 20,000 individuals in this chamber. So there's a lot of people to meet. There's a lot of people to network with, and there's lots of ways to grow your networks and grow your business. So again, thank you very much. I don't know, Barb, are you still here? Barb will probably be available if anyone wants to stick around to get a tour. She should be here soon. And does anyone have any questions for me before we close this up? Great. We'll stick around one-on-one, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. The sun's out, it's starting to feel like spring. Hank was right. Oh, wait, before you go.
Don't turn it off yet, keep it going.
No, you can turn that off. So on your way out, Michelle, can you hold up one of those bags? At the back door here, we have these lovely drawstring bags, and because everybody needs a insulated drawstring bag, so grab one of those on the way out.